We're interacting with remote computers kind of all the time in our daily lives at this point, whether it's because you're looking at a web page in a web browser or you're using some software in your phone that's interacting with some other service, something that's online. We're going to interact with remote computers in this unit in the form of connecting to a remote computer for the purpose of running commands on that remote computer. We're going to be using a program that's called SSH. This stands for Secure Shell to be able to connect to a remote computer and then to be able to run commands on that remote computer. If you are on the U of M's Wi-Fi, you will not need to be installing or running any additional software. But if you are at home or if you're off campus, you're probably going to need to install and get the U of M's VPN software set up before you can follow any of the instructions that we're going to have in this video. So the first thing that we need to do is open our terminal. So I'm going to open my terminal in the same way that I did before with checking to see that Pandoc was installed. I'm going to press my start key, or on Mac OS, you can hit Command and Space to bring up that quick launch tool. And then I'm going to start typing terminal and I'm going to press enter. That brings me to this. Once the terminal's open, it actually doesn't matter which operating system you're using. We're all going to be following the same instructions here. We're going to run a program from our terminal called SSH. So I'm going to type that in. When we're connecting to a remote computer, we need 3 pieces of information. We need to know the name and location of the computer itself. This is an address. And if you're thinking about when you are interacting with your web browser, so when you open up Chrome or Firefox or Edge, you often have to type in an address. So the place where you want your web browser to go, the information that you're trying to find. In the same way, our SSH command is going to require us to tell it which computer we want it to connect to. The other 2 pieces of information that you need are your username. So this is how you identify yourself to that computer, and the password, how we prove that we are ourselves to that computer. So this is like a secret that I know, that the computer knows, and that's how I tell that computer that I am who I say I am. The first piece of information that we're going to type in here is the username. My username for Aviary, the computers that we're going to be connecting to, is fbristow. Your username, if you're a U of M student, is going to be the same as your UMnet ID. And this is the part of your email address that is before the @ symbol. So it's usually going to be your last name and then a first initial. Sometimes there are numbers, sometimes it's something else depending on when you started being a student, but it's almost always going to be whatever is before the @ symbol in your email address. So my UMnet ID here is fbristow, my username is fbristow. So I type SSH fbristow and then @ and then I'm going to type in aviary.cs.umanitoba.ca. So aviary.cs.umanitoba.ca is the address that I want to connect to. This is the machine that I want to connect to. Small aside, Aviary is not actually just one computer that we're connecting to, but it's a whole room full of computers. There are many different computers. Aviary itself is just one way for a server to be able to say, I don't want everyone to connect to the same thing. I'm going to have them connect to possibly different computers each time they're connecting, trying to share the load between different things. This strategy that it uses is called round robin DNS, and Aviary is a big birdhouse, and each of the computers that are in this aviary are named after birds. It's a funny joke, and I hope that you're laughing right now. Anyway, once you have your username and the address typed in, you can press enter on your keyboard. The very first time that you connect to Aviary, you're going to see this scary looking message. This scary looking message is expected. This is pretty much trying to tell you that either you haven't connected to this computer before, which we haven't yet, or the last time you connected to this computer, it looked different than it does now. It's trying to help make sure that you are connecting to a computer and you're not going to get spied on by somebody that's impersonating that computer. For now, for us, it's safe for us to type yes. You must type YES here and then press enter. Now it's SSH is waiting for you to type in a password. If you're a student in the computer science department at the U of M, then the default initial password is uppercase C, lowercase s, the number sign, and then your student number. So no zeros as a prefix, just the 7-digit student number. So if my student number is 1234567, then my initial default password would be uppercase C, lowercase s, number sign 1234567. With this password prompt, you are going to start typing stuff on your keyboard, but it's not going to show anything. It's not going to put stars. It's not going to put dots. It's just going to keep sitting there and blinking. It's not responding to the input that you're providing to it. That is okay and expected. I'm going to put my password in here right now. I've typed it in, and I'm going to press enter. Once I press enter, I've mistyped my password, so it's going to ask me again. I'm going to put my password in here, and I'm going to press enter. And once I type in my password correctly, now I have logged into this remote computer. So right now I am connected to a computer in Aviary that's called Goose. This part of my display right now is what I'm going to call the prompt. I'm going to use this term a lot when we're talking about working on the command line. And right now my cursor is blinking and waiting for us to proceed.